morning, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Wednesday, May the 28th, 2025. U.S. stock market has been open for exactly 30 minutes right now. And it's fair to say we have a very, very flat market today, incredibly flat market going on right now. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has been up as much as 100 points in this first 30 minutes, but it's only up about 17, 18 points right now. The S&P almost dead flat at 0.73, like less than 1 point to the upside. NASDAQ down about 5 points, which is 0.03 of 1%. So you can say very safely it is an incredibly flat market right now. I personally think that there's very little change in these three marketing indexes because of three things that are all kind of happening simultaneously. Number one is this wait and see mentality for the earnings report for Nvidia after the close of the market today. Nvidia has become such a behemoth company. They've become such a massive company in terms of their net worth, their market cap, the amount of attention they've gotten, even amongst people who don't trade Nvidia. It has just become this behemoth juggernaut company that everyone is watching all the time, waiting to see what's going to happen with Nvidia. There's implications when Nvidia reports their earnings after the market closes today. There's implications with how that's affecting things with China. There's implications with the tech industry overall. There's indications with the AI race that's going on between the United States and other countries. There's just so much tied in to this barometer of what is happening with Nvidia. So all eyes are on Nvidia. Everyone's going to be hyper-focused on that. And I hear mixed opinions. I've heard people who think Nvidia is going to have a blowout earnings, that they seem to meet or beat analyst expectations every quarter in terms of their revenue, in terms of their profit. Everything seems to be on the up and up for Nvidia every time they report, but they've had a number of quarters in the past year, 2 or 3 quarters in the past year, where it hasn't lived up to the expectation because the expectation is so unbelievably high. Nvidia has such a high bar right now that I think expectations are unrealistic. Look at Nvidia over the past year. They've traded up around the 140, 150 mark. In fact, this is a better chart to show it on. This is just the last 6 months. Nvidia on a couple of occasions has been right up to and briefly got over 150. They've been down as low as 87.50 and a little bit below that. I mean, that's a big, huge range. If you look at the highest high and the lowest low just in the last 6 months, you're talking about almost 50%, maybe right at 50%. So this is a big range of movement, both in terms of dollars as well as percentages, and so Nvidia is in hyper focus right now. And I know people that think Nvidia is going to bomb, that they're not going to live up to the hype, they're not going to live up to the expectation. There's going to be too much focus on tariffs and China and all this other stuff going on around the world in terms of the trade wars and economic situations. And then there's people who think Nvidia is just going to absolutely blow things out this quarter and have a massive move to the upside. And it could end up being right in between. Who knows? So that's one of the things that people are looking at. The other is going to be this GDP number. I believe this GDP number is a second read for, let me look here. I think this is the, I want to say this is the second read for first quarter, because we haven't come to the end this is Q1. There was the first Q1 number was April 30th. This is the second Q1 reading. The consensus is that there's going to be a little bit of contraction in GDP numbers, that it's going to have, we're looking for that possibility that there's a contraction for first quarter, and then second quarter, if there's a contraction, that would technically be a recession. And so people are kind of sitting on their hands right now, waiting to see what that number brings us. And then on Friday, PCE, which is the inflation read. Now, right now, look at all of these numbers and look at them compared to the previous month. And the consensus is that everything is going to come down, that inflation is in fact coming down. If these numbers prove to be true and the inflation is coming down, that's going to be good for the markets. That's going to bolster the idea that what Donald Trump is doing or trying to do is having the right effect and having a positive effect. And that's going to give him a little more swagger and a little more leverage in pushing through this, one big beautiful bill that he's trying to get through. And I think the markets will react very favorably to inflation numbers coming down a little bit more. That's been the trend that we've been on the last couple of months, and if that continues, that's going to be big news. So I think it shouldn't come as any surprise that markets are relatively flat. You can see all three indexes are down a little bit, but none of them down drastically. So that's where we find ourselves on a Wednesday morning on a holiday shortened trading week. Not a lot going on right now at this moment in time with any of our open trades relative to the events that we are trading around. So we've got a number of spread trades that Nvidia is flat today. Palantir is up a little bit today. Our new trade on CrowdStrike is actually profitable over 5%, having been open for barely a day. You may have seen on Discord, I put out a note that a couple of times I saw the percentage return on my CrowdStrike trade go up over 11, 12%. So I have an order in place. CrowdStrike doesn't report earnings until, let's see, I believe it's the very beginning of next week. I'm telling you right now, if I got more than a 10% return on that open trade before the earnings event, that is kind of the catalyst event for what this trade is set up for, I'll take that 10% and get out without hesitation. That's just kind of a no-brainer. It's an easy win and one that you wouldn't turn away. It's come back down a lot since I put that note out on Discord just a few minutes before we started this presentation. It's sort of come back to earth. I show it up 3% right now, but just a few minutes ago, as little as 10, 12 minutes ago, it was up over 10%, and it may go back to there before the day is over. And if it does, I'll trigger out of the trade and I'll let everybody know. I sent out this morning before the market opened an adjustment for our Nvidia collar trade. All we did was move the long put options from a 122 strike up to a 135 strike. We wanted to have those long puts, for lack of a better way to say it, we wanted them cinched right up by where the stock is trading. Nvidia trading right now at just a little over 135, 132 and a quarter. So we've got those new long puts set up right there at 135 and a quarter. We've got those long puts set up at 135. And I think we're set in a really good position going into the earnings report at the end of the day today. I don't care if Nvidia takes off to the upside. I don't care if Nvidia falls dramatically. We're in a really good position for either one with our collar trade. One quick note on the triple play trades for those of you in the triple play program. I've got a triple play trade for Dell. I've got a triple play trade for Marvell, and I've got a triple play trade for Nvidia. As soon as that trade on Dell filled yesterday, I canceled the trade that I sent out for Alta. I'm going to look again at the prices on Alta, and we may add that before they report their earnings. I believe Thursday, I think after the market closes. Let me double check on this. I don't want to be wrong on when their report is. Thursday after the close of the market is when Alta reports. And I'm going to look at those numbers. If today or tomorrow morning we could get into essentially the same trade and do it at a really good price, I think it's a slightly higher risk, but a lot higher reward trade. The numbers at the price we were trying to get in at were really, really good in terms of the risk to reward ratio. The reason I called it a slightly higher risk trade is because we were looking at Friday's expiration, which would give little or no time to adjust a trade if it went against us. So we got to be careful on that. But I'm going to revisit those numbers and see if it's something that we want to still try and get into. But I am successfully in the Dell, the Marvell, and the Nvidia long iron condor spreads. So we'll keep a close eye on those ones and report on that. I'm going to wrap up right there with just about, let's call it 40 minutes of trading so far today. The three major indexes are all a little bit to the downside, but I'm still calling it a very, very flat day. None of the three are even 0.1% to the downside. And I think throughout the day you could see up a little bit, down a little bit consistently through the day. I wouldn't get too worked up about a day today like today. It's not a bad thing to just sort of sit back and let things play out today. I think tomorrow, after that report on Nvidia and what the GDP numbers come in at in the morning, you're going to see some big market movement in all three indexes when things trade tomorrow. All right, I'm going to wrap up right there, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you back here live about 30 minutes after the open of the market tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.